I'm here, I'm alive, this is what it sounds like and feels like to be me in
Yeah.
this whole body instrument. And so even before song, or even before the concept of singing, we are born whole, complete, radical expressions.
Hey, this is Justin Michael Williams, and before you get started on watching this interview that I know you're excited to watch, I want to tell you that this interview series is a part of a special event that our community does that is totally free every year called Manifest New Year's Eve. Now, whether you're watching this close to the new year or not, listen carefully because I want to give you this context. Every year, at the end of the year, our community puts together this incredible event that helps you set your mission, vision, and goals for the year to come. And our theme is you don't get what you want in life. You get what you are. You get what you are. So it's about who you're becoming so that you can transform. And these interviews, this interview that you're about to watch, was a part of that special event. And the best part is it's free and you can watch it anytime you want. So if you go to this website, manifestnye.com, you can see the full replay of our 3-hour masterclass featuring all of these incredible special guests like Young Pueblo, Dr. Tama, Dan Siegel, Sarah King, Sienna Sherman, Vanessa In, and more. And our community coming together so that we can actually transform our lives. And you'll get a special manifest workbook that will walk you through every single step of the process. And it's totally free. It's our gift to you because what we really believe is that no matter who you love, no matter how much money is in your bank account, no matter what your identity is, and no matter what color your skin is, we all deserve to live in the full abundance that is our birthright. And so it's a great honor to be on this journey with you and to present to you this interview from Manifest New Year's Eve. May you be well. Hey everybody, this is Justin Michael Williams, and I am so excited to welcome you to this series for Manifest New Year's Eve. And I have with me right now the brothers Koren. Brothers, say what's up.
Brother,
Yes,
so good to be here with you.
Thank you.
So these guys, so officially you can call them the brothers Koren, but they're also my brothers. I think they're everybody's brothers, and they'll be your brothers soon if you haven't known them yet. But this is Torald and Isaac. And these two brothers have literally been the angels in my life that have helped usher my voice into the world. And I know that so many of you are looking in this new year, no matter when you're listening to this, are looking to share and bring your authentic voice and truth into the world. And there's literally like no one better in the whole planet that I know to talk about this conversation of manifesting our true voices than the brothers Koren. So brothers, thank you so much for being here.
What an introduction. Thank you.
Love you, brother.
And hi to everyone here connecting into this. And we're honored to be here with you.
So you work with people in such a dynamic way, right? You work with people through the gift of song. You're incredible musicians, and you'll sing for us at the end of this, which we're super blessed about. And you also help people wake up their voice that has nothing to do with singing, you know, and these two things being tied together. I'm curious how you find that the singing and the voice of speaking and the voice of who we are, like, why does this weave together in such a powerful way?
Such a great question. I mean, we're always singing, really, because we're always making these sounds and moving in melodies to get across these emotions or authentic experiences we want to share through this powerful instrument that we have in our voice. So in one way, it's not musical, but in all ways, it's musical, if you know what I mean.
From like moment one when we come out of our mothers, we've been practicing inside our mother's wombs with amniotic fluid, and then suddenly that clears and we make our first expressive sound that says, I'm here, I'm alive, this is what it sounds like and feels like to be me in this whole body instrument. And so even before song, or even before the concept of singing, we are born whole, complete, radical expressions. And so, therefore, every single one of us, whether or not we've told ourselves, "Oh no, I don't sing, I can't sing," or maybe your mother or brother went, "Shh, you're a bit out of tune." No matter, beyond those inhibitions and the identity of singing, we truly believe that we are all non-melodic and melodic singers. We're born by nature to do so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, one of the things that I want to tune into and just like probe into a little bit more is this thing that you're saying is like we all come in whole, complete, full with everything that we need to show up in the way that we do in the world. So then why is it, or how is it, even some of the most common ways that you might think that like we end up getting disconnected from that wholeness, right? So that we end up needing to find our way back to it. Like, why do we even get disconnected from it?
Maybe one of the greatest questions
Yeah.
Of life.
itself.
Yeah.
And in our, and what an incredible question to be curious about. Each of us come whole and complete. Whatever your belief is, whether it's like my belief that we come many times over en route on a longer journey. I believe Isaac and I both feel that. But even if you are an atheist, so to speak, and you believe you will truly return to the soil, the same possibility exists, which is you've been gifted this whole body instrument. And when you first come out, you are hardwired with everything you'll ever feel to us. Everything you could ever tap into has been designed to be yours and at your disposal. And then what happens is through these little traumas, through these little breakdowns, little woundings, and what we call inhibitions to be all of yourself in the world, we learn these little markers in our biology that say, shh, that didn't work, or don't be so big, or you know what, maybe you're not good enough. And we begin to earn these injuries to our voice, so to speak. And so by the time we're into our child and teenage and young adult years, we have been inhibited. And it's time for us to peel back the layers back to our, not just our big voice, but our sharing with the world of who we are whole and complete again. And it's always going to be that process.
Yeah, I agree. And to your question, I think everyone that we've gotten the privilege to work with and to experience, to witness their experience of their own journey, and to know thyself is the greatest, gift, and then to know God through that journey. And so, I would say that the question is unique to everyone, that why, the question of why. And perhaps the through line that we've found is that the suffering leads to the gift, the greatness, and the tests that we're given. If we want something, perhaps we're tested for it. And so our souls are here to experience that tension and release, just like in a great song, there's tension and release.
I love this, Isaac. I love this concept that the suffering leads to the gift, right? And that this thing of like, if we lean into versus away from those things, we can become more intimate with it and then really learn and find the meaning from all the things that are happening to us in life. One of the things that you guys teach that I think is so powerful, there's so many things that you teach that are powerful, but there's one that I want to pull out here in this limited time that we have together, because I think as so many people are trying to manifest their vision into the world, which is what our focus is here for Manifest New Year's Eve in the workshop, there's this concept where we have the vision, we want to set it out into the world. And then you guys have these things called the small voices, right? That get in our way from us sharing the truth of who we are with the world. And I would love it if you would just give us a survey through the small voices so people can see which ones they resonate with the most that might be holding them back.
Fantastic.
Sure.
Well, there's a little backstory, because we didn't set out to create a body of work around the small voices. We just discovered it from hundreds of people we've had the chance to journey with. And you being one of them, Justin, you being our, we believe, 4th ever Songwriters Journey, which is so incredible, that we discovered along the way that what was universal about every single voice,
Including our
walk of
own.
life, including our own, was that as we move to be all of ourselves, which is a daring act, it's to talk about a courageous act. We like to call it daring to suck, which basically means risking our greatness and also risking our failure, or risking our
Judgment,
success
yeah.
or failure. And that as we move to do ultimately what is in our guts, in our belly, in our call to do, we're suddenly inundated with little, medium, and extreme inhibition triggers. And those inhibition triggers are those markers that told us, "Whoa," and it's almost like there's a choir living in your mind and body of different voices that go off whether you like it or not. The first thing I wanted to say before we start to share the most common voices we've discovered is we've never met someone without them.
Yeah.
And so all of you here in this incredible moment together, maybe the greatest gift you could give yourself on New Year's Eve is, instead of trying to fix and get rid of them, maybe accept that not only you have them to work with, but you are not only not alone, but 100% universally human because you have them.
And like we were saying before, like if the small voices, well, let's define small
Yeah.
voices, shall we?
Yeah.
What's the definition?
So for us, it's any automatic, negative leaning, and mostly reactive trigger that occurs and feels, or it could be anything like a noise in your mind and body, a thought, a feeling, a sensation, an emotion, and it's aimed at warning you. Whoop, wait a minute. You sure you want to be all yourself? Whoop, you sure that's too big for you? You sure you can do that?
And it's often a nervous system experience, like when we're asked at work to maybe put up our hand or say something, we get sweaty palms, our blood heart starts beating.
You get all red.
We
all
get
those
red
things. Yeah.
and dizzy and sick in the gut, like everything clamps up and kind of, oh God, and dry mouth, so all of these things are biological, and that's when our small voices have landed in our nervous system, in our experience, in our physical experience. And so, but they start in perhaps a thought, and these top 5 thoughts that somehow arrive, in our experience as we go to express ourselves, in
Well,
no
we found
particular order.
Top 5 of all the hundreds of people we've gotten the chance to work with so far would be, I'm not good enough. Now that could be variations of, am I good enough?
Or just enough.
Am I enough? It can kind of break off into other variations, sibling themes like, do I matter? And all these kind of break-offs.
You have a beautiful song about that.
I know. I was thinking it's too bad we can't sing together on Zoom, because I Am Enough is a perfect song for this moment.
It really is.
It really
And it gives us that sense of worthiness, which is our next small voice.
Which is, I'm not worthy. We often find this shows up in someone who's been through trauma that they feel responsible for. Maybe they hurt someone. Maybe it was an accident. Maybe it was intentional. Now they've matured. But somewhere they've said, maybe I'm not worthy of my greatness anymore because of that screw up, so to speak. So we see that show up quite often for people. Another one that is insidious right now in pop culture, 2020, 2021, is I'm not perfect. It's not perfect.
Yeah.
We've been inundated in our culture with the idea that if we're going to do anything, it better be an A+. We get to go from 0 with no workshopping, no forgiveness for gathering experiences, and suddenly be A+. And we find time and time again, not only is that almost impossible for the most part, it mostly robs people of trying the things their spirit and their being are calling them to do in the first place, which means to make a mess, to get out there, get dirty, and eventually find that nature's perfection. So that's a really common one that holds a lot of people back, small voice wise.
And one that's really rocked us to the core in 2020 in particular, and as an experience, the privilege of a white male in this sense, of I'm unsafe. For men, they don't experience it like women as well, perhaps. And what we've experienced is the voice, when we raise our voice, because it is one of our greatest weapons of influence, so to speak, we are put in harm's way. That's the fear. And it's really prevalent. And voices can be so easily shut down, and yet they're so powerful.
Yeah.
When reclaimed.
Yeah. And then last but not least, at least in this top 5, we've found a surprising voice, very common in America, not just Australia. Australia, it's almost cultural, this voice, small voice. However, we've found it show up time and time again here. I'm too much. Maybe someone went to be all of themselves and they made people jealous. They put a rift in their family. Their best friend got, mad at them. Maybe,
Get in your place.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so they decided that maybe it's best to dim down, not be all of themselves. We often find that in this small voice, often what's birthed is a rebel too. And maybe they reactively come louder after having that small voice happen to them. So I'm too much. It's a complicated one, but it shows up in the top 5.
Wow, this is so important. And I think, that I'm too much one. I think a lot of people will relate to this, and especially people in the LGBTQIA plus community,
Yes.
with this kind of like having to hide the fullness of who you are, and then trying to break free from that. So there's so many different connections, into that place. As we're looking at manifesting and bringing our vision and our goals into the new year, I think one of the things that feels really important is that given everything we've learned in 2020, that there's a way that we should be doing this differently this time. How would you imagine that in 2021, we could be doing it differently? What would we be doing differently in manifesting and going towards our visions and our goals?
Well, I would like to start by saying embracing the small voices. We've been designed, and this is my greatest mission, as a behavioral coach, I almost lost my life to mental illness. So all the coaching that I get to do is really centered around helping people form a new relationship to what we're calling right in this conversation, small voices. If we embrace those small voices and bring them under our wing, what we really end up doing is saying it's okay that this noise, this discomfort, this uncomfortability, the small parts of myself are arising when I step toward manifesting into my greatness. But what happens when they're under your wing is you start to maybe hear the quiet, calm call of that, what we call your big voice. And inside that little calm moment, in that meditation, in that mindfulness moment, when you can feel that life intelligence within you saying, this is what I want to manifest. Notice that it's calm. Notice that it's not generally gregarious and large and like doesn't have a loudspeaker. It has this calm, trusting space. And when we have our small voices under our wing and our goal is not to get rid of them, we can listen to that again. And really what we've discovered is if you can be okay with the small voices, your big voice gets to surface and just share with you the simple next step. And so much of manifestation to us is, what's the simple next step that makes you smile inside that big voice, that trusting voice that says, just do that next action. Just make that one bold little move. And so to do it anyway from that trust is probably our greatest wish for all of you and for us and for you, Justin, if we can just keep a little space for that next action from our big voice.
I love that. I would add to that beautiful intention to be in harmony, to find harmony. Music teaches us to find harmonic distances between us and those that we're sharing our voice with. And so how can we share our voice in safe spaces with people that we resonate with? How can we respond to the requests that are coming to us with our voice, with a yes and to be able to receive a request to sing and to speak up
and to step forward. I think a big part of the reason why I love, and just in your teachings and your online courses and workshops and all the things that you do, the small voices is really just this one piece of the puzzle, but it feels like without this piece of the puzzle, like if you take this part away, then nothing you do will ever work, because it's like, I say this in so many different metaphors, but it would be like trying to move forward in a car and having your foot on the gas pedal, but also fully on the brake at the same time, And so the small voices slowly over time allow us to pull our feet off the brakes. And when we feel ourselves clamping down on the brakes, we know to be conscious of that. And when we need to pull off and give ourselves permission to move forward in the face of fear. And it just feels really powerful and really important to me.
It's so great. It's
Beautiful.
absolutely that. And, I feel like just to finish on that, we've been hardwired, and I'm feeling it right now. I've noticed today, it's been such a powerful day, the solstice for me earlier. Like it's sometimes right in the moment of greatness, that's when the small voices come up. They go, am I great enough? Can I take this in? Why me? What about others? You know, whatever your small voices are,
We,
what if
fi-
it's not good enough?
we find there's two doorways. There's one just before you start. Often, I'm not good enough to begin, or I'm not worthy to begin. You know, and if you can get past that doorway, then like Torald said, if you can get to the end where it's like, okay, we're going to finish up now and we're going to share this. It's not perfect. It's not safe. And you're too much. Come in roaring in at the end of the journey saying, don't think you're getting, this was all well and good, you know, nice, you know, good job getting this far and
Good job
you
trying.
had your time, but we're not
Oh, we're
going
gonna
to
stop now. Yeah, we're gonna stop now. That was enough. Good job.
Yeah.
We're done.
And often people right there either stop and listen to the inhibition, or they go after trying to get rid of the inhibition before they can move forward. Another huge intention that we have for all of you and in 2021, for us as well, all of us, is that can you, instead of making that small voice or those inhibitions enemies, can you now invite them like children under your wing and say, hey, it's okay this time. We're going to do this anyway. You know, you can come kicking, screaming, you can come safe in my arms. Either way, we're going to move forward one step at a time with our voices and our hands in these whole body instruments, living out the actions according to what we want, what we really feel is wanting to manifest through us. So in a way, we allow what wants to manifest to emerge. We're not
saying
really
yes to
designing anything.
what we want.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And you know, when I think about this with sound and the way you all work with sound, and I think about visioning and what we're doing in the new year and bringing this newness and birthing it into the world, when we look at so many, literally from spiritual texts all the way to science, like we find that sound is a big part of what started everything. Like in the Bible, first thing, in the beginning was the word. Sound. What do we call it? All, and go all the way across to science. The Big Bang. What is a bang? A sound. Do you know what I mean? And so it's like the sounding is what actually is what starts our process of bringing our vision into the world, naming it, claiming it, moving it, speaking it, living it into our lives. And the sound is a big part of where everything begins.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt.
Beautifully said.
You said it well. And, you know, we find that we come at change in our life. We use our voice to change our lives.
Yeah.
We'll tell somebody the changes we need to make in a relationship, or ask for a raise at work, or, you know, tell our best friend that we miss them.
Yeah.
You know, nothing's going to happen unless we use our voice to make the change.
Or starting an idea in the world, you know. I'm going to do that book this year. You know, I've always had a dream to sing. I'm going to do it. I mean, I feel like that's exactly what we got to do with you, Justin.
Yeah.
You know, so, but it starts with sharing it. And then all of a sudden we're beautifully, verbally accountable to finding out what are the little actions toward it.
And writing is the voice too. You know, it's that stream of consciousness that comes through your sense of knowing that dares to suck and downloads whatever's coming through, whether it's through the voice orally or through the hands, like Torald said. You know, we're giving of our voice, but the other half of it is listening. The other half of it is receiving. So about manifesting, how good are you at receiving? You know, how can you actually take it in? Are you ready to receive? You know, are you ready to listen? Because in listening is the singing, you know?
Yeah, this is beautiful because it's even like in the listening within yourself. What I'm hearing too is the small voices are going to be speaking, and then the big and they're probably sometimes going to be speaking loud, even though they're the small voices. They remind me of the Chihuahua. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Just like crazy. And then apparently that's my Chihuahua sound, and then that I just did on video. And then there's the big voice, which is the true voice that you guys have said comes sometimes silent and whispers. And we've heard that through many spiritual texts, like Oprah says, like your life is always speaking to you. It comes in the voice of a whisper, the angels whisper. And so it comes, like you said, to this listening to that voice within us. You know, I think of Christina Aguilera when I say the voice within, because she had that song, but like really listening to the voice within and knowing how to distinguish between which voice we're taking our action from, our direction from.
And you know, Justin, I've unpacked this many times because to come back from the OCD I had, I asked that question hourly. And the one universal thing I discovered, being as sick as I was this: is that voice quiet, trusting, and in your best interest of moving you
Mm.
forward into the emergence of the life you know is within you that wants to flower?
Mm.
Because whenever you ask, is this a small voice or a big voice? If it's negative leaning, if it's concerned,
Mm.
if it's confusing and overwhelming, it's almost always a small voice. Almost
And
always.
they often
That's
always come from other people.
Yeah.
You know,
We adopt them.
they don't naturally happen. Often it's through little shaming incidents that could have seemed offhanded or out of context for the other person. They don't even remember it,
Mm.
what they said. But those few words in that moment of vulnerability have can last a lifetime.
Mm.
So these
yeah.
small voices are adopted. They're adopted children,
Mm.
that we've adopted, that we've taken on
Mm.
to nurture. But, instead of feeling pity about our small voices, let's get back to that resounding like 2021. Let's realize that we're here because of what we've lived through. And these small
Yes.
voices, we've
Yes.
lived through them. And so now it's time for us to really claim them as our
Mm.
gifts,
Embracing them.
not as our woes and poor us, I've got lots of small voices. No, lucky me, because these small voices have driven my greatness,
Mm.
driven my gifts and
Mm.
my ambition to be
Mm.
somebody, and to have a
Mm.
voice and to do that great
Mm.
thing to prove myself.
And
It's okay.
they might sing out of tune and in dissonance for a moment, and let's all be prepared for that. That they might not be all behind you, but watch what occurs when you do it anyway, and show them it's okay. They become that choir.
Yeah.
They've become that gospel choir with you. Maybe they won't say sorry. Our small voices never apologize for putting us through the ringer, but they certainly will just begin to harmonize.
Yeah. I mean, when I think of my 6-year-old son, unknowingly, he is my greatest spiritual teacher, you know.
Mm.
So when we think of that, when we think of our little small voices that have these big, loud voices, which my
Chihuahuas.
6-year-old son does, he screams on top note. And I feel guilty if I have a business that's based on sharing people's big voices, and then I tell my son to quiet down. So I usually let the house roar and ring with a thunderous 6-year-old. But so, here we are, and on this, in these choirs, like Tarod said, and how can we take that calm conductor role, that confident, calm, quiet,
Mhm.
listening conductor role?
So it is stealing back the microphone, but it's doing it gently. Thank you.
Yeah, like gently just taking it like, okay, nice. Okay,
Thank
now
you.
for the
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
So, I think this is a perfect moment, my brothers, as we go into, I would love for you to give us your wish for the new year. And as you're, doing that, I know that you're going to share a song with us
Mm.
as well. And
Mm.
so to just give us individually, you can, like, what is your wish for yourselves, for humanity, for us, for the world, for all of us in this new year? And then you can just sweetly just take us right in. I'll back off and pass you and your big voice the mic, and you can take us right into a song.
Thank you, Justin. Well, I'll start. My wish for 2021 uh, is the same wish in two directions. One is to grow my family. We will be awaiting family adopting a child in 2021. Uh, and my also wish for 2021 is to deepen and grow our company here, Your Big Voice, and the songwriter's journey to truly be a home and a family for all those that wish to reclaim their voice, form a new relationship to these small voices, and to sing out this big voice anyway. Our mission is to hear the world's song one voice at a time from all walks of life. So to really see so many voices heard, seen, and reclaimed in 2021 that we get to be part of that, brothers to that mission.
Mm. I'd like to send out a wish for the world, for each and every individual on this planet to realize their inherent and distinct and unique value, as a being, and a voice that needs to be heard. And so it is.
Beautiful. And Justin, unless you have a request, I can imagine What Happens Now might be a beautiful Crossroads song.
I'd say that's it.
Yeah.
I'd say that's it.
This song was written in the wake of a big breakdown. I lost my son, who was 14 months old in January, and he lived for 14 months, and Justin got to spend some time with him. His name was Jack Mutsuro McCrae Koren, and he suffered a brain injury at birth, and we had 14 amazing months with him. And this song was written while he was still alive, and it begged the question as a family, here we are at this crossroads, what happens now? And what we discovered as this got created between Isaac, myself, and our mother actually wrote these lyrics with us, that we discovered that we're all always at these beautiful crossroads. Some might seem tragic, some are miracles in disguise, and some are small, some are medium, some are massive. And we all find ourselves at multiple crossroads, and we always have an opportunity to choose the perspective, choose the way we'll venture through it.
Choose to dance.
So this is a question. This is not just a question. This is an intention forward for everyone. And may it be a blessing. This garment's worn, the edge is torn. The color's gone, I must move on. Courage now I call to rise above this wall. All castles loved, now they must fall. No compass in my empty hand, no footprints in the burning sand. I must trust this call. Whether I rise or fall, it's never let me down before. What happens now? I begin again. What happens now? What happens now on the path ahead? What happens now? Safety net below my feet. We're walking down the cobbled streets. A city light shine bright. Must plant the seeds tonight, or must be sown before the dawn. The wingspan, the vast unknown. This new life is cast and thrown. Only a second chance is painted horses' prints. Naked I ride a crimson tide. What happens now? I begin again. What happens now? What happens now on the path ahead? What happens now? What happens now? I dance again. What happens now? What happens now? I spin again. What happens now? 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 distance now.
Brothers, Koren, everybody, thank you so much, my brothers, for anchoring us right into our hearts, right into our big voices, telling us to hold our small voices tight as we step forward into the gift that is this year. Thank you for sharing your voices. We love you. We love you. We
We
love you.
love
so
you,
much.
and thank you to all of you. Blessings for
Blessings.
2021.
And to all of you listening, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day and your schedule to welcome our voices into your ears and into your hearts. It is an honor and a privilege that we absolutely do not take for granted. We rise together. This is Justin Michael Williams signing out, and I'll see you right here in this special place in our next video. Bye for now.